What should buyer and investors ask for in this market? How do you get a deal?
How do I get a deal? What are some actual tips? What could I ask for? Buyers, sellers, agents, they don't think about these things. We're gonna go from obvious to super complex at the end with a couple negotiation tips right there at the final part. The first and most obvious one is price. You can always ask for money off the price. Now, the seller is less willing to give money than they are to maybe give these next 15 items because price has the most emotion attached to it. People can't solve multiple variable problems in their head, so they get stuck on price as the only piece of the problem. So if you can't win on price, now start asking for closing costs. So closing costs, generally speaking, the seller can contribute, depending on the loan, up to 3%. In FHA loans, they could contribute up to 6% of the total purchase price towards closing costs. You could ask for an interest rate buy down, which is another type of closing cost item that the seller can contribute to. You could ask for cash for repairs, credits for repairs. So let me give you an example. You walk through the house and you notice it's got carpet from the 70s. And maybe you give 10 grand off the price and you ask the seller to replace all the carpet or to give you a $10,000 credit for the carpet. What's interesting is even though that's $20,000 off the price, most sellers do not interpret that as 20 grand because their brain gets focused on one variable, price. You can ask for a deep cleaning. Very few people ask for carpets to be professionally cleaned and all the windows to be washed and the gutters to be cleaned out. That's going to cost you money. You could ask the seller to buy leased items. An example would be a propane tank or a security system that the seller's leasing, and you just write it right in the purchase and sale that the seller agrees to purchase those. You could ask them to pay for your home inspection. Careful with this one. This is the one that's pissed off the most sellers. You could ask them for attorney's fees, for escrow fees. You could ask them to purchase a home warranty. A home warranty is, they're anywhere between $600 to $1,500, which then gives you a warranty over the next year on the home. You could ask for early occupancy. So for example, your lease is ending and you don't want to extend it. What if you could occupy that property 3 weeks early and save a month's worth of rent as you're purchasing it? You could maybe give the seller a little bit later occupancy because you don't have a payment for the first month. So the seller gets time to move and then maybe they give you money off the price. You can ask for appliances. Just because you walk through the home, through the rental property, do not assume all the appliances are included. You can ask for their furniture. Best deal we ever did. And this was in Snohomish, up on one of the hills. I'm not going to say specifically which one, or you'll figure this one out. This is like 2016. We get them a good deal on the house. We get them closing cost. The ping pong table, the pool table, the riding lawnmower, the pool behind, the hot tub, $10,000 worth of furniture inside the house, the kegerator, the beer fridge, and the giant chest freezer.
I want that kegerator.
It was a refrigerator that they had literally built a keg into with a spout coming out.
That's what I wanted.
When we originally asked the seller, would they give up any of these items? They said no. We came up on the price and asked for all these items, and the seller just gave them all away. And the dollars were not equivalent, but then the seller didn't want to have to move it, and the seller was getting what they want. Yard equipment. So we sell lots of properties that are larger. Okay, so we're talking riding lawnmowers, sometimes tractors, a track hoe, an excavator. We know some guys that might need one. These last two right here. A seller carryback in a second position. Okay, now let me paint the whole picture on this one. If my first mortgage is 7% and I have that in conventional for 500 grand, and the seller carries a second, that's $200,000, so 700 total, and that second is only at 4%, my total interest rate, my blended rate, is cheaper than if I would have got 7% on the whole 700,000. So maybe as you're negotiating with the seller and they won't give you the specific price, you try for the seller carryback, and the creme de la creme is full seller financing. I was sent a social message today on Facebook, and she asked me how much seller financing I have seen. I've said it before in previous videos, so we have the documentation. I've seen more seller financing in the last year than I have in the last 5 years put together. Seller financing is in vogue. It's cool right now. Why? Because if they can get 5-6% on their money, and it's secured against a piece of real estate, it feels safer than having it Silicon Valley Bank. Because as that bank goes under, is my money actually protected? And so I think that's what's causing it to come back in vogue. And also people they want to keep some of these cheaper interest rates. They want to keep the property, or maybe they just want or need the cash flow. So more seller financing. Thanks for watching today. Hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Hey, YouTube recommended you watch this video right here.